Hey, what's going on, everyone? I thought I should make a video kind of emphasizing more of the importance of drawing warm ups or exercises, however you would like to call it, because I feel like there are young artists out there that are told about these exercises or warm ups and that they do them without really understanding why they are doing them. We are told to practice our ellipses, yet we don't really know why. We are told to draw ghosted planes in various degrees, yet we don't know what to do with it. We're told to do all these exercises because that's what the pros tell us, but we do them blindly and hopes things will just magically click for us. We tell ourselves if we just keep drawing boxes and straight and horizontal lines on the page that we'll magically just start drawing at a professional level. But a lot of artists get stuck in that place. They learn these basics but only get comfortable with just drawing those basics. They never move on from that point. Now, is it good to do these exercises every day? Yes, absolutely. And you should continue doing so. But I wanted to make a video more specifically, not only to show newer artists how to push further from that point with their practice, but to emphasize a point that the reason why these are crucial because it's not only important for drawing from a reference, but the importance of drawing from imagination. Now I got your attention. Everyone wants to be able to draw from imagination. Why wouldn't you? Some would say that's real art and that's the definitive way to draw. But is it really? I often compare artists to magicians because some magicians practice one specific magic trick for years, perfecting it before they ever show it in front of an audience. And why would they spend so much time trying to perfect it, you might think? Well, to have the crowd puzzled, of course, to wow them and ask among themselves, how did he do that? Is he the devil? Or does magic really exist? They begin to question everything that they know in life because what they just saw they can't explain. It's the same thing artists want when drawing from imagination. They want people to think what they just drew to be a magic trick. Wait, what? He's not looking at anything? He must have photographic memory. He was born like that. We begin telling ourselves things to make sense of something we don't understand, something to put in place to protect us from our ignorance. Now, the entire time I was talking, I've been doing these circle warm ups, or some might say spheres, or maybe ellipses on screen. And as you're looking at them, you might be telling yourself, oh, he's just warming up drawing circles. There's nothing really there, it's just circles. I do those too. And I would say you would be right and wrong. I say you would be right because you do see them as just circles, but I would say you're wrong because I don't. Matter of fact, I'm going to take two of these so called circles that you see from the group and create an entire back view of a figure because you saw circles and you would be right, but I saw something different. Matter of fact, I saw two big buttocks. I took a simple drawing warm up that you thought was just a mere circle, and I'm now creating an entire figure just from that so called circle. Not only that, I'm doing it from imagination to show you that these warm ups are more than just circles and lines. They are everyday things we see in life. For whatever reason, this is what I saw. And I'm drawing from what I see or what I saw. Now, it's not that I saw the entire pose in my head one for one and I'm drawing what was in my head. I knew I had a basis. I knew those circles were butt cheeks, but that was it. The rest is invention and exploration. I am discovering the drawing as I'm drawing it. And as I'm drawing it, I'm pushing it, bending it, and seeing what I can get away with. That is what you call the creative process, my friend. What some artists call drawing from your imagination. But the point of this video is not just about drawing from your imagination. It is to show a point that all these basic warm-up practices we do is the way to draw from your imagination. I'm just showing what happens when you apply and take these warm-ups further and show you how far you can get with these basic shapes and lines when using the creative process. Now you see me now constructing and drawing another body right now, but this entire figure came to me after just drawing those 2 ellipses at that moment. I already knew what I was going to draw. This is what I mean by taking those warm-ups and pushing them further. I'm taking something as simple as 2 circles and I'm using that to draw the rib cage, the head, the legs from imagination. And these are what my warm-ups usually look like these days. I always tell artists to play with your primitives. The more you can play with them, the better you will get with drawing from imagination. And this may look complicated, but it's all exactly what I said it was. Like the leg here is literally just a cylinder. It's pushed to be a nice juicy thick leg, but only the form is pushed. But believe me, the basis of this form is still indeed a cylinder at its core. I talked about the ghosted planes at the beginning of the video. You know, the ones you learned from Drawbox or maybe Peter Hahn. 2 sides of the same coin at this point, right? But anyways, I'm showing how the bases of those planes are just the end of cylinders. And depending on what degrees you put those planes in, you'll get a cylinder in that different perspective. Now, what I'm going to do here is take one of these wonky primitive looking cylinder forms and I'm going to try and work with it to create somewhat of a body. Remember when I brought up the creative process earlier? I'm relying on that to take me where I need to go with this drawing without a reference. This is what I mean when I say drawing from imagination is the funnest, because you're not binded by a reference. You are exploring and creating something unique to you. This is why sometimes when artists use reference for an example being like posing, they come out really stiff because they're forcing the drawing to work with the reference and vice versa. So that's why it comes off looking stiff and forced, and people can see that in your works, like comics and such, and you don't want that. Now I'm going to do another example of just using another basic shape to help me create another drawing without a reference. Let's take a simple triangle flat shape. I'm literally just using this simple shape to help define the deltoid, which I will use as a base to create and draw the rest of the arm. And the arm is nothing more than a bunch of blobs just stacked on top of a bone anyways. But at its core, it's a cylinder. Me talking about the leg as a cylinder is no different than talking about the arm being a cylinder. Notice how by me just shifting these cylinders around in various perspectives, that's just me throwing a bunch of arms around. Again, another key component when drawing from imagination. Lastly, I know I talked about constructing a body with just 2 ellipses or circles, but I want to make note that there is no definitive way of constructing anything in art. For an example, this time instead of using those circles, I'm now going to use a box to create the figure, and at the end of the day, I'm using the same thing to do, which is called the creative process. It is very important you know what that is and how important it is when drawing from imagination, as it's a crucial process in doing so. But that's pretty much it. I just want to make this quick little video to give some people advice with using their warm-ups, and that they just don't have to be boring circles or just cubes on the page for the sake of just being on the page. You can make it interesting. Turn that cylinder into an arm, or turn that circle into a head or an eye. Stuff like that will help you improve a lot. Play with your primitives. With that said, guys, I do have an art Discord that has tons of free resources like this, and we accept artists of all skill level. Also, that's the best way to get a hold of me, as I'm active there if you have any questions. So if you want a community of artists to draw or to help you grow, consider joining the server. I will leave a link in the comment section. With that said, stay safe, and most importantly, never stop drawing. Alright guys, bye bye.